From my seat in the Air Canada lounge, I watched the chaos unfold. A stranger's kindness had brought me here, a woman who overheard me asking about a day rate. Without hesitation, she handed me her pass, letting me and my 7-month-old daughter in. She didn't even stay herself. Just a simple act of generosity that gave me a moment to breathe, to sip some water, and to brace myself for what was coming. We were supposed to be in the air already, on our way. But in Toronto, nothing was moving. The toilet on our plane had frozen, delaying our flight. I had already been pre-boarded when they stopped us. The crew and I were halfway down the tunnel to the plane when the announcement came. The ground beneath us collapses. At first, they pushed our departure from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It wasn't ideal, but manageable. Then, at 3:15 p.m., as I sat in the lounge, the cancellations began. One after another, international flights started dropping off the board, all grounded. And then, the realization hit. They had already taken my stroller and car seat when the first delay happened. Now, with flights canceled en masse, my baby and I were stranded without our essentials, amid a swarming sea of people, their eyes scanning monitors that offered no answers. The baggage claim area was an absolute nightmare. 4 carousels, 15 flights worth of luggage, and hundreds of people scrambling to find their bags, which were being dumped into piles on the floor just to make space. Wall-to-wall exhaustion. Holding my daughter with aching arms, I retreated to the oversized baggage area, hoping that's where my car seat would turn up. It was quieter there, except for the music, some middle-aged guys blasting dad rock from a Bluetooth speaker, the bass vibrating the room and waking my daughter up repeatedly. I'd had enough. I stormed over, ready to scold them, but instead, the words crumbled as soon as I started speaking. Instead of a lecture, what came out was the whole, messy truth. That I was exhausted, stranded, and desperate for my baby to sleep through at least some of this ordeal. Their reaction? Compassion. Instead of brushing me off, they turned the music down, apologized, and unexpectedly decided to help. Strangers who became heroes. An hour later, my stroller appeared. Those same men, now my unlikely heroes, found me in the crowd, loaded my luggage onto a cart, and made sure I got to Air Canada's help desk. I thought I was finally getting somewhere. I wasn't. The first desk made me wait an hour, only to say they could only help with baggage issues. They sent me across the airport, up 3 levels, to another line. There, the family line agent dismissed me, saying he was only checking in families, not assisting stranded passengers. I pleaded. He refused. I asked for a meal voucher at the very least, and his response was cold. We didn't cause the crash. We're not liable. Get out of my line. For a moment, I was defeated. I found a seat, held my baby close, and fought the tears welling in my eyes. But I couldn't just sit there. I couldn't let this be the end of the road. The last chance. I got up. I found his manager. At first, he gave me the same corporate response, but this time, I let it all out. I told him how their phone lines disconnected calls automatically because they were too busy, how call customer service didn't help when no one could get through, how I had 1 clean bottle, 10 diapers, and a baby who needed to be somewhere, anywhere but here, by nightfall. He listened, and finally, he acted. Flights to Charlotte? Gone for 3 days. Hotels? All booked. But there was one last flight to Edmonton, my home. It had been delayed 3 hours, leaving just enough time for me to make it through customs. There was 1 seat left. I took it. And then, as if the universe had finally decided to give me a break, he picked up my bags, walked me to security, and personally made sure I got through. The final stretch. The accessibility assistant, Calvin, met me at security. He took over, wheeled my bags, lifted them onto the belt, and made sure I got through as easily as possible. He even pressed the elevator button for me, so all I had to do was walk straight to my gate. Finally, the plane doors closed, and as we lifted off, I felt the weight of the last 24 hours settle over me. My daughter slept soundly, and the man in the aisle seat smiled at her. For the first time that day, I let myself breathe. We landed just past midnight, made it home by 1 a.m., and by 2 a.m., I was finally in bed. Gratitude in the midst of chaos. I will never forget the strangers who lifted us up. The woman who got us into the lounge so I could rest. The guys who found my stroller when I thought it was lost forever. The local woman who gave me her number to check if we got home safe. The mom who handed me a bottle of water just when I needed it. Calvin, the accessibility assistant, who went above and beyond. And the Air Canada employee who finally helped us find a way home. This was just our story, one small thread in the fabric of the February 17th Toronto airport crash. But in the middle of chaos and exhaustion, I found something else too. Kindness.